Welcome back, everyone. So this video is we're going to circle back to a video that I made a while ago where I started getting into records again for the second or third time in my life. And I have a pretty decent setup here in the basement. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. Well, technically it is the worst. I got this Sony DH190 stereo receiver that I bought from Best Buy about a year ago, and I got this nice Sony turntable that I bought at the same time, and I'm very pleased with both units. I have no complaints. Now, I'm not an audiophile. I'm not looking for high-end, the best sound possible. I'm not one of those guys. You know, I don't go around bragging about my stereo. You know, it's just I find what works, and I enjoy it to the best of my ability. You know, I don't spend a lot of money on stereo equipment. I'm not one of those folks. And, but I'm always, you know, whenever someone offers me something, I always, you know, what the heck, why not, right? So, one of my coworkers, she knows that I like music. I like old things. And, she's given me a few things in the past. In fact, the 17-inch MacBook Pro that I did a video on a while back was actually from her. And, well, she asked me an off-the-cuff question the other day, and she's like, you know, I got this old stereo stuff in my house that might belong to my father, and I'd like to kind of get rid of it. I was going to throw the stuff away, but I know you might be interested. And I said, well, yeah, what the heck? And I'm thinking, oh, it must be, you know, just a realistic from Radio Shack. You know, everybody was buying those up in the 70s, and thinking maybe it's a Sony or a Panasonic or something, or whatever. You know, I don't care. Old stuff is cool. I don't care what the nameplate is. I'm not a snob. So she sends me a picture of what she had, and I'm like, yeah, I think I can take those off your hands. You know, there's no sense in throwing them away. You know, they're probably still functional. You know, what the hell? And so I picked them up today, along with a receiver that, you know, what the heck? You can always use an extra receiver here and there, right? So let me show you what I got. And yeah, so these are just some old shit kicker speakers from the 70s, you know, probably, you know, something you'd find in a dorm room, you know, somebody on a budget, you know. Yeah, you know, just some basic, you know, nothing speakers, you know, nothing too expensive, right? Probably from Bradley's, or, you know, what was a big retail giant, Sears, maybe, Radio Shack. And I got this receiver, and it's what is this thing? You know, a Sansui. So it's like, you know, like department store grade Sansui. It's a Sansui 7. You know, made in Japan. Yeah, probably just a piece of crap, you know, from the 70s. Probably not worth much, but, you know, it's got, just a little bit, maybe a little, pretty much equivalent to what I got here, but only old. It's old, you know, a piece of junk. Sansui, they're mostly known for their Best Buy TVs that you buy at Best Buy for, you got the Roku built in, you know, just garbage, you know, just junk from the 70s, you know, just old. Yeah, I probably should just throw these all away in the trash. That's where they probably belong, you know, because, you know, old 70s, you know, nobody wants 70s hi-fi gear anymore. It's like, yeah, it's old. Everybody wants, you know, Crosley suitcase record players. Those are a big seller right now. And, you know, and everybody wants the Alexas, and the kids today, they don't want this old junk. So happily take it off your hands, and maybe I'll do something with it. Maybe we'll convert these speakers into plant stands for Amelia. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll use these as plant stands. And yeah, they're probably not really worth much at all. Anyway, so yeah, I'll happily take your junk and find a use for it. Maybe we'll bring this to Savers and donate it, because it's just, you know, it's just an old piece of junk. from the 70s. You know, it's just old. Get rid of that stuff. Everybody wants Bluetooth and digital compression and those 400-watt stereos that they sell at Walmart. What's this thing got? What, 60 watts RMS? That's junk. No, everybody today, you got to get the 400 peak watt. That's where the money's at. That's where yeah. Okay, so I might have landed face first into a gold pile. No, in all seriousness. I did tell this person, are you sure you want to give this to me? Because, all honestly, I mean, look, okay, let's take it back a notch. So these are Bose 901s, Series 2, I believe. That dates them to about 1973 to 76 or so, which seems to check out with what she told me. They have a little bit of damage. But they're not bad. They really aren't. I love the design of these. Now, these speakers actually belong in a corner. And they're designed to project off the wall and back at the user or the listener. So this is actually, so there's 2 ports. You might have actually seen a variant of these. There's 2 ports in the front. On the later models, they designed the front to have 2 projecting ports. But these are the Series 2, and they have to be mounted on these stands to sound correctly. I forget why. But this is actually the back. It looks like this would be the front. The speakers are here. There's 8 speakers per unit. I don't have all the facts and figures in my head right now. I've just kind of digging into the surface of what they are, what they're worth, and whether they're worth my time. These Bose speakers actually are the speaker wars of the 70s. There was, and it's funny, all the major audio companies that made speakers were in this area. These were actually made, I believe, in Mansfield, Massachusetts. I think that's where their factory was. This is the Equalizer. You have to run these off of this Equalizer. This sucker right here was made in Natick, Massachusetts, which I actually have family in Natick, Mass. Maybe that's just where the headquarters are. But it's very, these are very early. I mean, this is early Bose. This is back when Bose was probably building decent stuff. And the thing is, these were quite controversial because in order to enjoy the sound, in order to produce the right type of sound, the right harmonics and timing and everything, you had to position them just so. So they're not really revered by collectors, but they are worth something. Because of the case damage, I would probably say that they're only worth a few $100 for the set. But these are definitely not trash. These are decent speakers, and I love the stands. I love everything about them. I'd like to put these in the living room, but we just don't have room for them out there. As for the receiver, this is a Sansui Model 7 or Sansui 7, and I've actually watched a few videos on these, and this is a very, very, very nice receiver. It's well sought after. These have sold, I think restored, they can go for over $1,000. I have not powered this thing up yet, and I'm not going to. If you remember a video I made a few months, almost a year ago, somebody had given me a similar type of setup. But it wasn't nearly as expensive as this one. It was a nice setup, but it wasn't. This is a little bit above that in terms of price, and but it was a Yamaha natural sound receiver that he had bought new in the late 70s, and within about 5 minutes of running it, it just let go. And I feel that I would be doing myself a disservice by turning this thing on and trying to run it as is. The plan is, there actually is a rebuilt kit that includes all the passive components that go in these. including lamps, I think capacitors, lamps, everything, soup to nuts, for about $120. I can get it all in one shot. And it's supposed to be all Nichicon or better, just decent quality caps. So my plan is I'm going to rebuild this receiver rather than mess with it. I'm not going to plug it in. I'm not going to turn it on. Don't even know if it was working last she knew, but I'm not going to test my luck because I've already had that happen to me once. But the speakers, I'm going to try to hook them up to this Sony STR-DH190 receiver, and we'll see what it does. As far as the case damage goes, I'm going to do my damnedest to fix that. And this piece is, I think somebody had tried to glue it on. I want to take it off and get it repositioned correctly so that it sits correctly on the, yeah. So let me tell you how these got damaged. She actually told me what happened. So the woman that I got these from, she's in her late 50s, and these were in her house since she was a kid, a very little kid. And she had a has a sister who was wheelchair bound, and her sister ran into them by accident, I guess, and knocked them over. That's what she told me happened. I'm inclined to believe that. So these are made of MDF with a veneer. I don't know what's holding this together. Is it nailed? Did somebody nail this in place? But anyway, I'm going to try to wedge it back in the right way with a mallet. Just tap it in. We have to reset it. Like when you break a leg and you need to surgically break it again. Anyway, so we'll try to fix that up. I'll clamp it and glue it. There's a little bit of damage to this one. Not as bad. I think if I just kind of split it apart and clamp it, I'll be able to fix that. But these are never going to look new again. There we go. Yeah, somebody tried to glue this. That's what happened. Oh well. That's too bad. We'll have to put some wood filler in there and maybe get some little bit of paint to match it. You know, no big deal. These speakers are worth something, but they're not worth $1 million. I went on eBay to see what they're selling for, just out of curiosity. And there was a set of these, I think, listed for $1,200 or $1,100. But they were in better shape than these are. So let me try to fix that up a little bit. But I do want to try to hook this up to the Sony. I'm not really sure how to hook it up. A little dumbfounded. So connections to amplifier. So equalizer input, equalizer output. So it looks like we're running it through the on the receiver. We're running this through the cassette monitor, it looks like, which I'm not too crazy about, but it is what it is. Yeah, so it looks like the audio comes out of the receiver into here and then back out again through tape monitor, and you've got your input here and here. So yeah, that's a little sucky. We'll have to figure this out. I'm sure we can do it. And but yeah, this equalizer is a requirement for these speakers for them to sound correctly. But it does limit what you can and cannot do. Maybe not. I'll have to play around with it. Let me work on this, and then I'll get to that. All right, so I'm getting there. I actually took this off, and yeah, I found that they had used hot glue to put this on, which is not, no, it's just not. No. So I've identified, got it to go in a little bit better, but we got to carve away some material. So to carve away the material, I'm using this guy, and I can very gently take away some material that's getting in the way. And once I have it in place, I'll clamp it and we'll use wood glue. As far as like filling in the areas where I don't have material, like underneath here, I'm going to actually make it out of wood filler, sandable, stainable, and then we'll just apply a little bit of stain. Again, this isn't a showroom, you know, these are basement speakers now, so I just want them to look somewhat good, but they don't have to look brand new again. So. All right, so I was able to poke and prod and cut and splice, and it's not, again, this isn't, I wouldn't be advertising my services, well, anywhere, but, well, it'll be good, better than it was. If they had just left it alone, it would have been better. But you know what? These are free speakers. I am not going to complain. All right, so we've got this side here. This corner was split, so I went ahead and I split it a little bit more. I actually kind of forced some glue into the cracks, and we're clamping it with a C-clamp. This isn't professional grade cabinetry repair we're talking about. This is just, again, these speakers are, yeah, they're not in perfect shape, but yeah, they'll do. But then we clamped it real good until the glue stopped oozing out. As we're clamping it, the glue is spreading deeper into the cracks, so that should be not too bad. This one here, we got this piece glued back in to where it's supposed to be, and then we'll sand, and I'm gonna just touch it up with some stain. Once I get this right here, this is gonna take some rebuilding. This corner, I'm using wood filler. I probably should be using the catalyzed Bondo style wood filler because it's a little bit stronger. But, this is what I got. So I don't have any of that right now, and I don't want to spend money. So just for cosmetics, it's not that critical. We'll do some wood filler here as well, sand it. Again, these are, as they say, these are old 1970s speakers. Probably not worth much. The cables, I think the cable connections are underneath the stand mount. So when I set these up for real, I can just take the stands off. We'll put new wire on them, set them up as I need to. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So the cable got tugged at some point, and it is disconnected. And look at this. This cable has had some moisture intrusion, and it's corroding. So, yeah, these wires need to be changed. They're no good. But it'll work for the intents of what we have. So, let's take a look at this. Wow, look at all that corrosion in there. It's an 8-ohm speaker, model 901. Maybe it's a Series 1. It doesn't have a year of production on it, but it's nice to see that the label is still there. These stands were made in Canada, eh? Alright, so let me hook up this terminal. Oh wow, that terminal's loose. That doesn't look good. These might need a little more work than I had anticipated. Look at all that. That is not great. Not great. Let's see if I can tighten these lugs up a little bit. Oh my. Yeah. I'm not sure what it takes to get these apart, but I just might have to find out. So, bear with me on this. Oh yeah, I gotta get inside there. It's something I'm not even sure is possible. Yeah, I'm not even sure that that's possible. But I'm gonna damn well try. Alright, let's hook this wire back up. Don't worry, you're not missing anything. I guarantee that. I don't think these are disassemblable. So we'll have to see. What that's going to take. All right, put the base back on. Yeah, I think these are screwed together. So something really got that hard, yanked it. Probably when it was taken out of the house that it was in. So, just to give you a little background, these speakers were installed or placed in a home in 1972, 73, and they were never removed from their location as far as I understand. So they're one owners, one house, one owner, and these haven't gone through a dozen moves, which is surprising that there's so much damage to the cabinets. It's a little upsetting, but it's all right. Okay. So yeah, I don't know how to get into these. I've seen lots of pictures of these with the grills removed. How's this for classic American ingenuity? The the cables are designed to get pinched. There's no cutout for the cable. That's dumb. All right, so I just took apart the equalizer, and here's what I found: a whole lot of caps, orange drops, looks like. Got these axial sprayed caps, a million of those. Nothing looks to be leaking or smoldering or anything horrible. Here's the production tag, serial number, model number. I'm going to go ahead and just flush out some stuff like the power switch. It's acting up. We'll flush that guy out right now. I'm going to try to hook this up to my Sony.
What was her role? Her role was largely ceremonial, and she would go herself, or she would send representatives to basically decolonize. There would be a negotiation, there would be a new constitution, so you'd have a whole
flush all these out.
Tenure, achieving independence in the 50s and 60s. And the Queen's role, in fact, was...
Let that dry a little bit. Let the solvents air out or gas off.
Something from this by sponsoring...
There is a light in the power switch, a pilot light, and it is blown, which we already know.
Preserving British influence in a post-colonial world.
And that's that.
Does she transition beyond?
So it looks like I'm going to have to take this speaker apart. And it'll be a good thing to do because we don't know what kind of condition the surrounds are in. So the trick is you got to find these little hidden staples. And that's how they're assembled at the factory. Ooh. Try not to ruin the fabric. Maybe easier said than done. We've got to take these staples out. And yeah, just like that. Okay. Yeah, they're all over the place. They're in the front, they're on the sides. I think what I'll do is I'll end up, if I do end up saving these, I'm going to recover them anyway. I'll get some new fabric for them. Not much to see here. There is one speaker on this side, and then there's 8 on the other. The surrounds are intact. Speaker flex nicely. I would like to recover these with a similar material. Let's take the speaker out, and that'll get me access to this section here. Let's take a look. Now, when you were spending about $3,000 when adjusted for inflation in 1972 to buy these, you probably didn't realize that you were getting speakers made with old packing material, but that's okay. Now, inside here, I can actually see the other side of these terminals, and yeah, they're loose. See if I can peek in there. See, that's what it looks like on the other side. Really low tech, really, actually quite comically cheap. No, I mean, I guess that's standard in the speaker industry, but you wouldn't expect that. And you look at the thickness of the wire going into the speakers. Look at it. Wow, this is how thick it is. That's the wire that's driving all 9 speakers, or all 9 drivers in this unit. It's comically cheap, in my opinion. Comically cheap. Like you would expect, like a speaker made today, expensive one anyway. You would typically see, massive thick cabling, but no, not in your 1972, 73, whatever year they're made. But I'm getting a little inspired while looking at this. I could refinish these cabinets in a nice mahogany stain and replace the water-stained fabric with something a little bit better. I've got a crown stapler. I can just boom, shoot new staples back in. I would probably want to replace this putty all around. But these are totally savable. We'll have to figure out the mysteries of the Equalizer unit to see how we're going to integrate that into a modern system. Well, for now, I'm going to connect these to my Sony for now, because that's the system I have that runs, and we're going to do that. Based on the condition of these surrounds, I'm not going to go and redo all the speakers. I'm not even going to check them, because if this one's good, they're all probably fine. I think the newer ones use foam surrounds, which degrades and falls apart. So I'm not going to go nuts with that. I took this speaker apart, or not apart, but I took the cables off, and yeah, same corrosion. Pretty nasty. That's likely dissimilar metals, I guess. Just clean those up a bit. Now, you audiophiles, you're probably watching what I'm doing, and you're like, oh my god, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He needs to die. Whatever, dude. You do you, I'll do me. I'm not doing this as nobody's paying me to do this. This is my stuff. Got it for nothing. I already saved it all from the trash. You're welcome. Then there's other audiophiles. They're gonna say, ew, Bose, gross. Yeah, apparently Bose stereo equipment is highly controversial in the audio world for various reasons. Whatever, dude. I wouldn't buy this new. Not for. Well, then again, I did buy a Sony STR 190. So, I'm like the anti-audio guy. I I buy the stuff that nobody buys. Nobody who knows what they're doing buys. But you know what? You do you, I do me. we all live happily ever after. That's the way I look at it. Anyway, I'm just gonna splice these in and be done with it. I'm gonna get a copyright hit for this one, but hey, you know what? You need to hear it. By the way, Terry Adams, underrated musician. He's actually part of the NRBQ band, which, if you're a Simpsons fan, a true Simpsons fan, you've heard many of their songs and didn't realize it. Anyway, these sound awesome. I worked out the issues with the Equalizer. Visual inspection revealed that all the caps are in pretty good shape in terms of structural integrity. There's no leaking electrolyte, nothing like that. So I decided, you know what, clean the switches, pop it in, see what happens. Got it to work. I think it sounds pretty goddamn good. Man, I really impressed. And you know, it doesn't take much to impress me speaker-wise. But these do have a rich sound to them that I'm not used to. The thing is, with these 901s, they have to be placed just right. These are corner speakers. They have to, or they're supposed to go at least so many inches away from a wall, but ideally positioned near a corner, because this is the front. All 8 speakers are in the back, and they project against the wall. We don't really have that luxury in this basement. So I may have to place these differently. I don't know where I'm going to put these. I'd like to fix them up and put them in the living room, if I'm completely honest, because they would look beautiful. They're very mid-century looking. I did some homework. These are probably Series 1s, so that dates back all the way to 1968. So these are quite old, into the early 70s. So this thing works fine. The speakers sound great. Everything sounds perfect. No humming, no vibration. I played a few records, just kind of sitting down here, and yeah, you can tell they have to be placed certainly in a certain position to get the most out of them. And yes, you do need that amplifier. You do need the equalizer. The equalizer increases the extreme ends of the frequency chart. So it increases your highs and your lows. Running these speakers without the equalizer, they sound dead. They sound flat. There's no life to them. You put that equalizer in, and boy, do they wake up. Night and day. Now, here's the problem. I'm going to have to fix that stereo. Because to make this work, on this stereo, I had to connect my phonograph directly to, again, this phonograph is a nice little unit because it'll do both line in and phono in. So preamp and amplified. So we'll just switch it back to phono. Little flick of a switch, it does both. Now, this is designed to work with a cassette deck interface, monitor and return. So that's audio out and in. Now the problem is this receiver doesn't really work like they used to. So when I have this thing set to, how can I put this? When I have the cassette deck selected, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. So monitor out will always output sound, right? But, so no matter what input is selected, phonograph, tuner, Bluetooth, sound is coming out of monitor, so it goes back into that. works. It works. Just a quick little update before we close out the video. I've temporarily positioned the speakers here and here. They're not facing in the right direction because I'm doing some work to them, which I'll show you in a bit. These are not the right speakers for this basement, period. These belong in the corner of a room. And the acoustics in this basement are as bad as you think. So, I don't know. I'm not getting rid of them though, because I like them too much. So I started kind of filling in with some wood filler. This isn't the right thing to do, but it's the cheap thing to do, and I mean, these aren't worth $1 million, so we're not going to spend $1 million restoring them. But I'm going to sand this, and then we're going to give it a light sand over the whole surface. We'll touch it up with some nice, I'm going to try to find a similar color, similar tone in wood stain. And we'll just kind of lightly stain the whole thing. And this will kind of blend in. This is stainable wood filler, but it has no natural wood grain. Whatever, you know. It's also the back of the speaker, so you're not going to really see it anyway. This one wasn't so badly damaged. So we just, we're going to just sand, just a little bit of damage to the veneer. And I filled in, you know, that crack that I couldn't quite clamp closed. But this repair came out pretty good. Again, once it's cleaned up and stained, it'll look good. We are going to redo the grills. I'm going to pop those off. We're going to replace the fabric. I might go with something a little bit nicer. I have plans for these. Just not sure how far down the road they'll be. I toyed with the idea of making like a little music room down here, like back in my earlier plans of completely redoing this basement into compartmentalized rooms, but that's just gonna have to wait. So I don't know. I've actually thought about putting these in the living room. They're that nice, and then redoing the home theater setup with a mid-century modern vibe. I've got ideas. I'm glad I got these. They work great. Stereo will be completely restored. I'm going to order the kit this winter. I got enough shit going on right now. I'm not going to do it right now, but this winter. Also, I've tested its inputs with the CD player, the cassette deck, the phonograph. Everything works. Everything's fine. I do believe that it would benefit from a recap, though. I don't know if it's as much the speakers as it is the amplification going to shit, but these speakers don't like high volume coming out of the stereo. This stereo puts out too much power for these speakers. I don't know how that's possible. Either that or the amplification stage is weak from old caps. That'll all be figured out when we do the rebuild, see if it improves the sound. That having been said, when driven off of my Sony stereo, which is now in that box, they can handle the volume. They sound better, believe it or not, on the 2022 Sony than they do on the 1972 Sansui. So I think that kind of answers my question just now, that we've got some issues brewing here. Let me show you why these speakers are drivable with the equalizer from this receiver, but not from the Sony. This receiver has a specific circuit to bypass, or to, it goes out the preamp into an equalizer or a reverberator or some other piece of equipment and back in. It also has a tape monitor that functions regardless of what input selection is chosen. So you can run this hooked up through the tape monitor here, and you can still use your other sources. So you can't do that. It doesn't work that way on a modern receiver. You need one with a preamp out and back in again. So a modern receiver needs, you need to do some hacking and patching to make it work with the equalizer. Without the equalizer, you can drive these speakers. They just sound kind of weak. That equalizer wakens them up. Okay. So I got some work ahead of me. Least of all is getting this set up right. I'm going to actually put this receiver on its own shelf because it's so fucking heavy. I still have the others. I took one of the shelves out. It's back there. It's going to have its own shelf, and we're going to separate it out so that it looks a little bit more visually appealing. And yeah, overall, I think we're going to be in good shape. Having it stacked on top of these modern machines is chung. Doesn't look good. But by itself, I think it can speak for itself. I think that's what we need to do. I might even put that in there as well. I'm going to put that in the cabinet, that equalizer, so that there's less crap hanging out. And I'm also going to play with the placement of these speakers in the meantime. I've got one here, looks stupid. I got one here, but I can't put one over there. Not enough room. Putting another one there, stupid. It's just, it's a basement. It's not meant. Did I just catch that? No, I didn't. I was kidding. They just pounced on each other. There's no good place to put it. I could put it by the oil tank, but you'll be hearing the echoing of the oil tank. Oh, another thing. Got a lot of feedback into the turntable. Why? Because the proper placement of this speaker in this location sends the audio straight to the back into the cabinet into the turntable. So I can't have really any bass at all. It's a first world problem. These are the wrong speakers, I know, but they're so beautiful. At least they will be when I'm done with them. As beautiful as free speakers get. What I should do is find somebody who's looking for a pair of these. I'll fix them up, make them nice looking, put them on Craigslist or whatever, find a buyer, and then buy a set of speakers that actually works. Now, I had the perfect speakers in my condo, my Sherwin Vegas, but I sold them years ago, stupidly, but I didn't have room for them back then. I do now, but I didn't then. Anyway. Right, Oreo? Hey, talking to you. Anyway. Alright, guys. Feel free to tear me apart in this video in the comments. I know you will. You audiophiles, oh, you know, you're going to tell me all the shit I'm doing wrong. Go ahead. I need to learn somehow, right? Until then, guys.